Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here on the Nature's Premier Week in Review. I am your host, Brooke Nichols, and I am blessed to be back here with you all today. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another video. I just want to apologize about my hiatus. I wanted to step back and see what kind of content I really wanted to offer you all for this show, and I am certainly going to stay with sustainability and conservation and the things like that, but I am going to do my best not to leave my very long and drawn out commentary because I'm very passionate about these issues. So if you are passionate just like me about certain issues like this and you want to see more in-depth videos about certain topics, feel free to leave a comment below or even email me personally at speaking@naturespremier.com, and I will be more than happy to cut a new video for you guys, like all about that topic that you're interested in. So let's go on to the show, and I hope that this information is useful for you all, and please feel free to share this video so it really gets out to more people who can use this information. Now, the first topic I want to talk about is a topic that actually hit me really close to home because it's something that I deal with in my personal life in the area that I'm from, which is on Long Island, New York. And it was an article posted by MSN.com, and it's about beach pollution, and a large amount of beach pollution at that. And the article was titled 10 Tons of Trash Collected from Virginia Beach After Memorial Day Event. 10 tons of trash had to be removed from the shores of Virginia Beach on Monday after a Memorial Day event, Wavy 10 News reported. The Chesapeake Bay Beach, commonly known as Cheeks Beach, hosted an event on Sunday called Floatopia. Beachgoers celebrate Memorial Day weekend by bringing their own floats to the water. Locals on Monday discovered beer cans, plastic bags, man-made rafts, and other trash piled up on the shore. Drew Langford with Virginia Beach Public Works told the outlet 10 tons of trash were removed by cleaning crews, who started work at 4 a.m. Longtime Virginia Beach resident Melissa Noel posted a video on Facebook showing the debris. City Council member Michael Bellucci criticized the mess left behind. "We can do better than this. Let's work together to keep our city beautiful," he wrote. I think as a society, we have to really just sit back and think about those around us, about our environment, and about the amount of trash that we actually accumulate. It's absolutely insane that in 2019, we have to tell people not to litter our beaches. It's not something that just goes away. The garbage that you throw on the beach doesn't just go away. You know, the rangers don't just come, pick it up, and throw it out. Oftentimes, that garbage washes up into the actual ocean, into the bay. It washes up into the water, choking out our marine life and completely changing the biodiversity of the area around it. Now, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, global warming is such an issue, and global warming is obviously affecting the biodiversity in the oceans, but so does trash. Trash affects the marine life in our oceans and seas. You know, for example, the turtles that are in our oceans and seas, they often see plastic bags looking like jellyfish, and they eat the jellyfish, which in turn kills the turtle, but not immediately, and that's the horrible thing. It literally starves the turtle to death. If the turtle's lucky, they die fast, but oftentimes they don't. And this is going to go into our second article that we're going to talk about in a second. But I really want people to just reflect and be more mindful of those around them. Let's say you're not into the environment, that's not your thing. Let's say you really don't care about the trash, you know, and you're just involved in your own interests. Well, what about the people around you? What about your family? What about the environment if you have children that you want to leave for the future ahead? You know, it's something that's really important that we pay attention to, we take mind to. And I really think that it's important that we share these issues because this is happening all the time, especially beach season here in New York, California. If you're in the States, you know, it's summer here, well, it's spring, but, you know, we're seeing it all the time. We see it with, you know, tourists, and a lot of people want to blame it on the tourists, but you can't blame it on the tourists if we have trash all year round that are just in our streets, on our beaches, in our parks. We see it all the time, you guys. So I just want people to be more mindful of what they're actually consuming, and it does tie into so many different, you know, avenues. You can go down so many different rabbit holes when we're talking about pollution. You can talk about the consumption, you can talk about zero waste, you can talk about, you know, reduce, reuse, recycle, talk about reusables, but I just want to you know, stay on topic about this issue. I really hope that sharing this article, sharing this video to people who can use this info, which is everybody, really does start waking people up. And when they see somebody throw something down, be like, hey, what is this? Like, what, you know, what is this, your home? This is how you treat your home? Like, say something. You don't have to be argumentative, but pick it up maybe behind them if you don't want to have any issues. Me personally, I say things. I don't want to be like rude or anything like that, but I'll say stuff. I'll be like, excuse me, can you please pick up your garbage? Like, everybody else wants to enjoy the beach. I can't help but be, I guess, rude about it. I guess it is rude, whatever. If I see someone littering, I can't help but want to say something back because it drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely crazy. It doesn't matter if you're an animal person, you're a people person, it doesn't matter. It's like everybody's on this planet together, and we really have to do our part to clean up after ourselves because it affects every single species on this planet. Now, this is going to go into the second topic that I wanted to talk about, and that was actually about a dolphin that washed up on shore with a 2-foot long plastic shower hose inside of its body. Now, before I begin with this topic, I really wanted to try to weave in different articles into each other. I did the best that I could. I will get better at it. But with this, it's like you see the correlation. Okay, trash on the beach, Memorial Day weekend, people partying, having no regard for the environment around them, and then now look. Now there's a dolphin that washed up with trash in its stomach with a 2-foot long shower hose in it. Now obviously these two aren't related, but it's related. It might not be the same exact situation affecting one another, but it's related. Because when we pollute, we are literally killing our marine life. We're killing the animals around us. We're killing the species, the planet. I mean, it's really such a big, big issue. We can talk about the landfills that are completely inundated, more active or more closed landfills than active, but that's a whole other topic. But I want people to know that this affects you throwing that wrapper on the ground, you throwing that shower rod, whatever the heck this is, on the ground. That affects everything. And it is going to harm something. It is going to harm, unfortunately, an animal in most cases. Now, the second article was by news-press.com, and it was titled 2-foot long plastic shower hose pulled from dead dolphin's stomach. A second dolphin in a month died on Fort Myers Beach with a belly full of trash. This time, the male bottlenose, which stranded May 7th, had eaten a 24-inch long plastic shower hose, complete with nozzle and metal radiator clamp, that looks to be from a camping rig. Last month, a female rough-toothed dolphin calf who'd washed up on the beach was found to have 2 plastic bags and a balloon fragment in her stomach. Both dolphins were given post-mortem exams called necropsies by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. There are many additional factors to consider before a final cause of stranding and death on the dolphin can be determined. Samples collected during necropsy will be sent for analysis to help with this determination. The post goes on to urge people to take responsibility for trash and participating in cleanups. It also points out that marine mammals strand for a reason. Often the animals are sick or injured. Call FWC's Wildlife Alert at 888-404-3922 to allow trained experts to respond. Please don't push the animal back into the water, as it can delay examination and treatment and often results in the animal restranding in worse condition. So that right there, you guys, shows that these animals are suffering, they are becoming stranded, and there's just so many articles I can pull from the internet as of lately, of 2019, where huge animals, huge mammals, whales, dolphins, turtles are washing up on the shores with disgusting amounts of garbage in them. Our marine life is dying. It is dying at a huge pace. There's so many different arrows that are hitting these animals, and a huge one is humans, whether it be with global warming, whether it's with the pollution, the fact that the ocean, the water, the temperature is rising, it's killing off coral, it's killing off different plants that can't survive in that warm of water, and it's really affecting these animals. So my plea to you all that are listening today is to please clean up after yourself. Please be mindful of what you bring on the beach. If it's too much, next time don't bring a lot. If you don't know where to put the garbage, let's say the receptacles are full, because I've seen that as well, bring your own garbage bag. Throw out your own stuff. Take it home. I know some people don't want to deal with carrying garbage on mass transit, but there's mass transit, there's always garbage cans that you can use to dump your garbage. I think it's just a matter of us being more mindful to the serious impacts our actions have on the environment. That is what's going to change, and that is what's going to wake people up. But unfortunately, we're going to have a lot more casualties like this if we don't make our minds up to really reduce the impact that we have on our environment by not polluting our oceans, our beaches, and everywhere in between. Our next article takes us into a topic that I am very passionate about. I've spoken about it in depth on the show, but it is something that I am going to be talking about a lot more on the show, and even having separate episodes dedicated to this issue alone, and that is poaching. Ever since I was a young child, since grade school, I've been very passionate about poaching. And I don't know if it's because that we have protections in place to protect these animals, but they're still dying at an alarming rate, and there's many that just disregard the laws altogether, or if it's the fact that those that are meant to protect these animals, not all, but there is a small percentage of rangers that are meant to protect these animals that actually wind up hurting them, and they do it for money. And it's just the whole situation with poaching really fires me up, and it's something that I really want to start covering on the show. So the next few articles I'm going to be talking about are based on poaching. Now, the first one was covered by several different news outlets, but I'm going to cover the one by TorontoSun.com. Tigers 4, Poachers 0. Predators die in shootout with the cops. Quartet was killed during a shootout in a Bangladeshi mangrove forest with police. According to local reports, the armed poachers opened fire on cops from the Elite Rapid Action Battalion, the anti-terrorism unit of the Bangladesh police. They had been questioned earlier on Wednesday, officials said. The poachers were trying to escape across the river in the world's largest mangrove forest, the Sundarbans. These gangs have become a major threat to wildlife conservation in the mangroves, RAB spokesman Tajul Islam said. In the aftermath, investigators found 4 bodies, guns, and ammo on the poachers' boat. Cops said the dead men were members of a gang that makes its money from poaching rare Bengal tigers and Arati dolphins. According to the RAB, 120 poachers have been killed in clashes with cops since 2004. More than 400 have been arrested in the mangroves for poaching. The Daily Mail reports that at least 200 poachers have surrendered their weapons in exchange for mobile phones, cash, and legal aid. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has declared the campaign against the poachers a success, and last week officials said the tiger population in the area has grown for the first time in 20 years. In 2004, there were 440 tigers in the area, and that dropped to 106 in 2015. Last year, the number of majestic cats had risen to 114. The area also includes parts of India. Poaching is devastating, and unfortunately for these men, they were killed because they decided to shoot the cops, but also because they decided to choose a life where they were taking lives from others. And it's just a really sad karmatic effect that happens, but this is a big reason why we have to stop. I think it's great that we caught men that were part of gangs that were profiting off of blood money, off of the backs of these Bengal tigers. There's more and more countries that are just trying to tighten the ropes with poachers, but there's so many different gangs and tribes that are just making money off of these animals. Do not ever disregard the fact that these people will hunt them to extinction. And it's unfortunate these men lost their lives, but they are literally in an industry that is destroying the lives of millions of animals, of people, of, societies, of cultures. It's really a huge problem. And I'm happy that people are starting to take the reins and fight back. People need to wake up to the fact that we can't lose our wildlife, and they will be protected, to the fullest extent of the law. I think the take home of this article is that people are fighting back. Now, this was police fighting back and they were protecting wildlife. But my next article I'm going to share with you is short, but it does shine a light on a bigger topic, and that is about the underbelly of rangers in the whole poaching scene that are supposed to protect these animals, but they're actually making money and profiting on them instead. And this article was covered by ewn.co.za. And it's titled, Former Sands Park Ranger Arrested for Rhino Poaching. Another person was arrested along with the former corporal during an anti-poaching operation on Wednesday. Now this was posted, I believe, 28 Cape Town. A former corporal in Sands Park Ranger Services has been arrested for rhino poaching. Another person was arrested along with the former corporal during an anti-poaching operation on Wednesday. The former ranger was dismissed in 2014 after a disciplinary process of unrelated charges. Sands Park Isaac Fala said, "We can confirm that a former corporal within our rangers was arrested in Kruger National Park while in possession of a hunting rifle, ammunition, and poaching equipment. He was arrested alongside an accomplice." Rangers arrested 2 more suspected poachers in a follow-up operation on Thursday. Meanwhile, conservation NGO, the Landmark Foundation, has condemned the actions of a man filmed shooting a leopard in the Northern Cape. The big cat was apparently shot near Agrabahce this week. The foundation's Dr. Bull Smuts said it was not the first time the same family had killed a leopard. "We are horrified because it's the second time he's killed a cat that we are studying. So we run a research on conflict mitigation program along the southern banks of the Orange River. It is estimated between 3,000 and 5,000 leopards remain in South Africa." This situation right here is huge, and so many people don't talk about it. They just want to think that it's isolated to gangs, and yes, gangs are a big problem. They're most of the problem, but the fact that these rangers are making money off of poaching, they're making money off of poaching the animals themselves when they are in the position to protect the animal when the animal is at its most vulnerable. You know, when there's a ranger there, you think the animal's protected. But if these people are sniping these animals and selling them, you know, low-key to other gangs or whatever cartels they have for poaching, it's such a bad situation. It's so unfair for these animals and for people that really want these ranger jobs, because it's not like the easiest thing in the world to get a poaching ranger job, trust me, because if it was, I would be there now being a poaching ranger. Like, let's just be honest here. But it's not the easiest job to get, and there's a lot of trust that's put into these rangers to protect these animals and the wildlife. Unfortunate that the reins have to be tightened more. They really have to be tightened more to protect these animals, because even in the circle of poaching protection, they are still being exploited on very, very large levels. A lot of trust that's put into these rangers to protect these animals and the wildlife. This next article I'm going to share with you is about poaching, and it's a very sad article, but it's something that, again, ties into so many other areas, right? You can talk about palm oil, you can talk about zoos, you can talk about animals for profit, all these little exhibits that people have around the world. It is so sad and it's so frustrating, but I'm going to stay at the topic at hand. But I want you to understand that when I'm showing these articles to you and I'm reading them to you, I want you to know that there's many different rabbit holes you can go down, and I'm going to do my best to explore these rabbit holes in different videos. This article was covered by unilad.co.uk on May 2nd, 2019, and it was titled, "Poachers Kill Orangutan Mothers So They Can Sell Their Babies as Pets." Mother orangutans on an Indonesian island of Sumatra are being murdered so their babies can be sold as illegal pets to the rich and powerful. Although it is illegal in Indonesia to keep an orangutan as a pet, there are some who keep them in cages at their homes as a status symbol. There have so far been no prosecutions of those who keep orangutans as pets, with campaigners stating this is due to keepers often being people of power. Orangutans in the Indonesian leisure forest are said to be increasingly vulnerable due to habitat destruction over the last 2 decades, with infrastructure projects, palm oil, and farmland destroying the forest. This devastation has brought them in closer proximity to humans, with black market traders taking advantage of this by slaughtering orangutan mothers to steal their babies. Rescue charities in Sumatra are now working to rescue these stolen babies and to hold those who keep them as pets accountable. New footage from the BBC tells the story of Bom Bom, a young orangutan who was sold on the black market after his mother was murdered. Bom Bom's keepers, a police officer and his wife, kept him in a cage for 3 years, allowing him only out on weekends. The footage shows Bom Bom being taken from his keepers to a rehabilitation center where he will be prepared for life as a wild orangutan. The police officer's wife showed visible distress as Bom Bom is taken away, describing the wild animal as her child. Bom Bom, too, is initially frightened when he is taken away, but he is later seen looking more relaxed, extending his paws towards conservationists. Dr. Ian Singleton from the Sumatran Orangutan Conservation Program told the BBC, "A mother orangutan will carry an infant around for almost 24 hours a day for several years, so there's no way she is going to voluntarily hand over that infant or allow anyone to take it unless she's killed. She's always going to defend that infant with her life, and unfortunately, that's what usually happens. All the orangutans that are here at the rehabilitation center, their mothers were almost certainly killed." According to estimations given by Save the Orangutan, an estimated 6,000 great apes are captured or slaughtered annually to those who sell them as pets on the black market. Up to 70% of these apes are said to be orangutans. According to estimations given by the Save the Orangutan, an estimated 6,000 great apes are captured or slaughtered annually to those who sell them as pets on the black market. Up to 70% of these apes are said to be orangutans. Sorry guys, I'm a little teary-eyed. These stories really break my heart. They really break my heart because it's like, as a mother myself, to just see this happen and, you know, look, 1,000 shares. People don't care, but if you see an article for, you know, a famous reality show star, you'll get 150,000 shares, you know? Like, these are real situations. These are real things happening to these animals, and I don't know what it is. Sometimes I wish I didn't care either, because it's painful. You really want to think that these things aren't happening. This article really, really broke my heart, and I have to be very honest with you. You know, I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be very professional and unbiased, but these are the things that move me and my soul. And I just want to spread this information to people so they know what's going on. Like, I really want people to know what's going on, because 1,000 shares for the fact that orangutan mothers are being killed so their babies can be sold to people in power is disgusting. It's deplorable. And it just shows where our human compass is as a society. I want to share a story with you about orangutan mothers. And this is something that really affected me, and it still affects me. Like, there's things that I learn about, there's things that I see, and it takes a lot out of me, which is another reason why I took a step back from the show, because I really want to bring you this information. I really want to do the best that I can without getting so emotional, but I guess I failed for the first episode back. But I want to share a story with you all, and then I'm gonna sign off the show for this week. But this story is about orangutan mothers, and as a mother, it really impacted me. Now, I've heard this from several different people, very similar stories, from people that work in the field, from people that work in this study of orangutans, deforestation, the palm oil industry, and this specific story really bothered me, really bothered. Like, they all bother me, but this really triggered me. And it was about the fact that these animals are evolving because of what we're doing to the planet. And in order for them to survive, unfortunately, sometimes they have to take themselves out so their next generation could live. And one thing in particular, and I'm not sure if I shared this in depth, this story with you all, but probably not, because I can't say it without crying usually, but it was about the fact that these mothers, oftentimes they'll find, like, when they come in after an area has been excavated, after it has been burned down, they'll find an area of a little patch of babies. And there's literally orphanages around the world, especially in Borneo, that you'll find, like, orphanages for orangutan babies. And you wonder where their mothers are. Well, they might be slaughtered, or maybe they antagonize the workers for the palm oil industry, or those that want to deforest the whole area. And what they do is they know when they hear the trucks coming, they know that they have to fight for their life. They have to save their baby. So what they'll do is they'll take the babies and they'll hide them. Now, as a mother, I can't imagine knowing that in my head. I have to, I have to hide my baby because I'm gonna die. I just can't imagine that as a mom. And people want to say, oh, animals are stupid. They're not. They're very intelligent, and we don't give them enough credit. And this is I'm going to show you why. I'm going to explain why. And in this situation is they know when the workers are coming. They know when they're going to, burn the area down or get rid of the orangutans, because there's such a nuance, right? They can't deal with them. How dare you live in your home? We need your area so we can grow palm oil, so we can grow cattle. So what they do is they come in, these workers, and they destroy the area. But what happens is they kill everything in sight, and the orangutan mothers know that. So they antagonize these workers, and the workers see them, and they run up the trees, these orangutans, these mothers, these huge moms. They're huge. I don't know if you guys seen orangutans, but the trees are very large as well. And they run up the trees, and at that point, oftentimes, more often than not, they burn the trees. So these moms, they know that they're going to die, and they burn the trees with the mothers on top. They burn them alive. And then later on, rescuers come and they find the babies. And that's been the narrative that's been happening, because these orangutans know that in order for them to save their kin, they have to kill themselves. This is how our nature, our wildlife, this is how the environment is evolving, to be scared of humans, to kill themselves, to not have their babies die, have them and their babies die. They know that they're going extinct. They know that their lands are dying. It is so important now more than ever that we literally make a pact to ourselves, to our future generations, to our environment, to the millions of species that rely on us, and say that we're going to do the best that we can for our world, for our environment, for our species, for the wildlife that has nothing to do with us, that doesn't need to have anything to do with us. We have to do the best that we can to protect them, to save them, because they are going to die one day, and we are going to be like, what happened? Didn't there used to be tigers? Didn't there used to be orangutans? Didn't there used to be this beautiful, lush wildlife? What happened to the rainforest? What was the rainforest? Those are going to be the questions that our future generation is going to ask us. And what are you going to say? Sorry, honey, I was too busy watching, reality TV show. I was too busy watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians to really care what was going on in Borneo, to really care what was going on in India, to really care about the natives that were getting their home destroyed, and all their cultures and herbs and thousands of years of traditions just being taken away from them like that for your freaking palm oil. Sorry, honey. Wish I could go back and change the scenario, but we can't. What are you going to say to your future self when all these animals are gone? When the rainforest is gone? And all we have is concrete jungles that can't even sustain human life. We're too busy looking at screens all day. We're too busy eating junk food. We're too busy being rude to each other. Too busy keeping our heads in the sand to want to look up, see what's really going on in the world around us. It's time that we make a pact to the environment, to the people around us, and to ourselves that we are going to do better, that we are going to be a stronger generation coming forward, that we are really going to stop things like poaching. There's no reason why poachers should be running the mill, why they should be allowed to kill these mothers, why these mothers should even know that when they hear workers coming, they have to kill themselves. This is crazy. And if you don't care about the animals, think about the humans that are affected. The humans that rely on the rainforest, that rely on these animals, that rely on their tribes, that have thousands of years of cultures and traditions that are being wiped away like that. So fast. It is our duty to give a damn. Especially people who live in the first world. You are so privileged. You are so privileged. And for us to not think, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years down the road, because we're too busy living in our modern conveniences, is just completely deplorable. So I'm going to leave the show off on this for this week. What are you going to do to make the world a better place? What are some things that you want to take initiative on? What are some things that you're really interested in learning more about? And how will you leave the world better than when you came in it? My name is Brooke Nichols, host of the Nature's Premier podcast, and I will check you back again on the next video. Take care, friends.